Solutions. We are an IT technology company, and we provide IT support for many different small, large corporations and mid-sized corporations. Over 25 years of experience in the business, with a lot of good reference, happy customers, and still growing and growing and growing. Support, provide IT solutions, help desk, all kinds of issues, server support, cloud solutions, and now implementing AI solutions as well. So I'm very excited to have you in this podcast. I'm creating this with the intention of communicating, connect with business owners and other companies like yours. And thank you for taking your time to be here.
Yeah, thank you for talking with me this morning. I look forward to the conversation.
Yes, I know we're busy. We don't have a lot of time, but it's gonna be briefly. It's gonna be, quick. It's a very informal. We're not trying to, not trying to sell you anything. Just like I said, connect to see what your company needs are, and where you guys, how you guys are doing. Tell me more about yourself. So let's start with that.
Yeah, so thank you. So I'm Heather Eason. I'm the founder and owner of Select Power Systems. We are a engineering services firm. We provide transmission, distribution, and substation design to electric utilities. So we're the people out there that's redesigning and fixing the grid for us, which I think is pretty exciting. I love what we do, and I'm excited about what we do. I can tell you from an AI perspective, you hear all the hype, and I didn't know a lot about AI. So I actually joined Furman University. They have an AI certification for executives, and I joined their board, and I'm sending my IT manager through the class so he can learn, okay, what IT is available, how can we use it? Because one, I'll be honest with you, I'm like most other small business owners out there. I use Chat GPT to write LinkedIn posts or to revise LinkedIn posts that I write. That's about it. I'm not really using AI a lot, but I'm excited about what's coming with AI. I love the idea, especially of AI assisting small businesses in recruiting, because finding good quality talent is getting tighter and tighter and more difficult. And if
Yes.
we can have AI to help us go find the resumes, pare them down the first time, maybe even do a first interview to where I'm coming in with maybe the top three instead of the top 50 resumes, that would be a huge help, I think. So I'm excited about that coming.
Definitely, yeah. Actually, you hit a good point. Is uh, interviewing process, like especially first interviews, is being done by AI tools right now, AI engines, asking the right question to see if there's a fit. They go through the whole resume and ask the questions. Is very efficient actually. It save you, like I said, it save you a lot of time. And the human aspect of going through the process is, it's tiring going through. You post a position, you get 50 resumes, and then you got to go through all of them, and you got to find the right match, and it's a journey. It gets very difficult.
It definitely does. It's very difficult and time consuming and expensive. Headhunters, they're wanting 25% of the first year's salary. Well, engineers are paid, $160,000 a year, depending on the role. And so 25% of that is a lot of money, considering they just do a resume dump based on keywords. Then you still have to go through them and you still have to do all the interviews. I'm like, where's the value add here? I think if I could have AI scan through the resumes, do the first set of interviews, and send me fewer resumes so I'm taking less time, and I could probably pay a lot less for an AI application than I can for a headhunter. So,
Exactly.
not just the time consideration, but also the money consideration.
Money consideration, exactly, because is people have, and I'm glad that you took the initiative of learn AI, learn, you want your people, your IT manager to know AI. It's important because at this point, Heather, it's like the AI is not coming. AI is here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming. It's here. It's here, and it's not a choice really, because anywhere we go, now is the AI solutions are everywhere. The other day I went to Wendy's drive-through, and you know how they always they put the recording like, how can I help you, or are you using the app or something like that, and I was like, yeah, okay, and then they repeated the question and asked me, can I take your order? Oh, so this is AI. So I noticed the signs that, yeah, we tested an AI. It was very efficient. It took my order and it asked me like, can you repeat that again? It took, even with my accent, it was able to understand me, which was a great thing. So I was very impressed with that. And like I said, AI is here to stay. It's here to make our life better, to help us to learn a new set of skills. Remember how the internet was like 30 years ago, 30 something years ago, in the early 90s?
Sadly, I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm old enough too. I remember that. And I remember the change, how people were so concerned about, oh my God, this is, the computer's going to replace us. But, it was not that. Actually created more jobs. It created more opportunities because if it forced people to learn a new set of skills. Now, younger people, older people like us, they have no choice but learn how to type and use a mouse, right, and browse. Now everybody knows. You could be 80 years old. Everybody knows what a www is. So it's an adjustment, but I think AI will be in the long run is going to be, it's my opinion, bigger than actually the internet, what the internet was back then.
Oh, I can definitely see that. I look at AI as a tool. I'm not afraid of it. It's just another tool that I have to learn how to use and implement. I know I forget which guy it was, but there was some radio guy, and he's like, "Didn't the movie Terminator teach us anything about AI?" And I'm like, "Well, that was fictitious. Movies are not
It's fiction.
factual. Yeah, they can maybe be predictive of what could happen, but I think because we're aware of it, we're going to control it and we're going to maintain what we need."
I mean, you can't live thinking like that because it's like walking around with a, garlic necklace to protect you from a vampire. It's like they teach you in movies, right? So it's fiction. I mean, it still need people need to remember that AI is created by people, by humans, and it's supported by that. And it's just gonna get better, but it's a tool. Again, like you mentioned, it's a tool to make it easier to hopefully make it, like everything is depend how you use it. Look how great social media is, but look how bad it could be.
I was going to say, I'm not a huge social media person. I'll be honest with you, I got social media when my kids were teenagers because they would post stuff on their social media accounts. And then I was able, as a mom, to kind of spy on my kids and see what they were up to. So that's really what I use social media for, to spy on my kids. Um, I hadn't really gotten into the whole social media thing as much as other people, but I know that it's huge,
Hmm.
and I definitely see the value of it. My industry, engineering, is much more relationship based. It's not necessarily sales funnels and things like that that's going to work. So maybe that's why I hadn't embraced the social media as much. But
Okay.
AI, I do see a lot of potential opportunities there.
And it's interesting, and I'm glad that you do see it that way because a lot of times you talk to people, they don't understand it, they're afraid of them, and they don't want to know anything about it. But you're in the right place. So my purpose is, get to know you, get to know your company, what do you need, and how maybe we can potentially offer you a solution that will, improve your production, save you money, more than anything, because it will definitely save you money. It's no question because it's so much you can do with automation. Are you familiar with automation?
Yeah, being an engineer, you get into all kinds of different areas when you're studying, and so I learned a little bit of automation and controls earlier in my career.
Oh, great, great. So, for example, you said use ChatGPT, for example, right? Everybody uses a ChatGPT these days. Actually, a guy. The problem is, and it's not really a problem. It's just some lack of knowledge is that ChatGPT, people replacing Google with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is way more than Google. The ChatGPT can become your personal assistant, for example, and it can talk to you. It can do, you tell them what to do, and it will do stuff for you. I got my ChatGPT, and I check my emails, my calendar, my replies. It give me a summary. It give me all the stuff that I need just to go on my day that will save me time and time. Like for example, this interview now, this podcast is give me a summary of all our conversation perfectly. You know, it will highlight the point and all the stuff, and it saved me a lot of time. And that's how it is. So let's keep moving forward. Let's tell me more about you, Heather. What makes you be a power engineer, right? And I noticed right away on your website, I was sharing it with my fiance that it's you very proudly mentioned that it is managed by females, right, women and stuff like that. She's like, oh yes, she was happy about it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, there are not that many female engineering firms that are owned out there. Matter of fact, I think I'm one of three that I know of in the entire nation. There's
Really
really
is.
not many females that own their own business. Well, you think about it. There's just not that many women that get into engineering. We have 20%, depending on the year, 20% of graduates are women. And so you start off with a smaller talent pool, and then what happens is once you get into the industry, it is very challenging, especially as a mom.
A male-dominated environment, right?
Well,
Industry.
yeah, the power grid, most of it was built from retired Army engineers. So you had this Army mentality and this Army culture that really started most electric utilities back when the rural electrification was taking place. So you have this militaristic culture that really hasn't changed. And so as a mom, because I have 4 kids that I raised, all 4 of my kids are working young professionals, very proud of them.
Good for you.
But when they were younger, it's extremely difficult in this industry to be a mom and, to have the older culture of, you better be in that seat at 8 a.m. and you better be working and you better be 30 minutes on lunch and back in your seat on time. And you better not leave until, 5:01. And I remember being in a situation where the school bus was late to pick my son up, so I was late to get to work, but I had texted my boss and I said, "Hey, the bus is running late. I'll be there as soon as I can." When I got there, instead of understanding that I'm a mom and I had to get my son safely to school, I got reprimanded. I almost got fired over being
Come on.
tardy one time because the school bus was late. Now,
Right.
that was difficult for me, but that's just one example of many that you have to see. So, as a female, as a mom, a lot of my female colleagues, they left engineering. They got out of the technical field. They went into sales and marketing, technical writing, technical sales, that type of thing. And so when you have 20% to start with, and then a large number of those leave mid-career or early career, you don't have that many of us that survive long enough to get to a point where we've got the depth and we've got the ability to open our own firm. So it's just, it's a diminishing, leaky pipeline. And it ends up where we're at today. And so one of the things I'm very passionate about is trying to help women and minorities both get into engineering and get into power engineering, because we need everybody. Diversity reduces risk, period, across the board. I don't care if you're talking about your retirement portfolio. I don't care if you're talking about your company. It just does. If you have diversity, it reduces risk. So we need more women and minorities in power engineering.
Diversity reduces risk. Can you explain that to me a little bit further?
Yeah. So when you bring in diversity, like with a portfolio, like your retirement portfolio, when you have one stock or a group of stocks that tanks for some reason, let's just look at what happened recently with China. You had the Chinese government say they're not going to send the U.S. rare earth metals. So Trump threatened a 100% tariff on China. And immediately, things that were through China that would be affected by this tariff tanked. I mean, it dropped. Some of them, I saw one stock that dropped like 25% in one day. And so when you've got stocks that can be volatile, having a diverse mix, a mix of different things, not just stocks, but maybe you have some bonds, maybe you have some CDs, maybe you have 401k or IRA, or you've got gold or silver. You've got other diverse things that help reduce your risk to where if one area drops, the other one, keeps it consistent. And I think businesses are the same way. If you have a diverse culture, you're bringing in different perspectives. You're bringing in, different thought patterns and processes. You're able to get creative and think out of the box and come up with more creative solutions that you might not have been able to do earlier because you had a more limited field of view from, a more cohesive work team. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense now when you mention it. Sure. It's really an advantage of having diversity. Actually, this whole country is built on diversity. It makes us who we are. It's like I said, the different perspective. It works always best for the business and for anything because you need different mindsets, different way to think, different way to see things and handle things. So I really appreciate that you're bringing that up. It's a very interesting point. Okay, this is very good. I'm telling you, it's good to see people like you who have the drive and be brave enough to be only 2-3 women in the whole country. Engineering is unbelievable. It's like I can't relate to that. I don't know anything about power energy. But like I can relate to for example, the information technology world is very heavily driven by men mostly. Women are very very small, and that's sad because I think personally they bring a lot of. I love working like a lot of women that do project management. I love working with them because they're very efficient. They see things differently. It's not about being female. I don't distinguish. I see everybody the same, but like the way they handle things, they see things is better. It's better. In my personal opinion is like every time I have some business proposal or anything, the first person I talk to is my fiance because she has the mind for it. She understands it, and she will give me the perspective that I'm like, oh, I didn't see that side.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of, and also the challenge with AI. We've got a position where because IT is predominantly male dominated, most of AI was written by male coders, right? So
Yeah.
how do we bring in more female perspective, more female, type of interaction? Because I mean, one of the things that I see, especially when you're talking about AI and customer service, if you're going to have AI be your first line of customer service, if someone's going to call your business or click on the Google link and interact with a chat box for your company of, hey, what are your hours? When are you open? What are you doing? You
Hmm.
know, Men, not to say this is across the board, but just what I've seen in my life, men tend to be very factual. So they get a question and they respond with facts.
True.
With a female, you get a question, you get some of those, what my old boss used to call fuzzy words. The emotions, the feelings, it's more relationship based. And so, I think that's the benefit of having women in technical fields is that they can bring in that relationship base. They can bring in that softer conversation. You can deliver two messages, one being very factual and accurate, the other one being as factual and accurate, that makes you feel better. You know, and so that's what I think the benefit of women in technical fields can do. And I think that's important for AI. We need to get some more women into teaching the AI how to do the communication, especially when we're talking about client engagement. When you're going to have the chat box, when you're going to have the AI answer your phone, that's all great. It's a great way to save money. It's an excellent way to have your customer be able to interface with your company without having to have a head count. But the challenge is, how do you do it in the best way? How do you make sure the AI communicates facts and also creates a relationship so that that future customer feels like they're in a relationship with your company so they continue to come back?
Yeah, some great points there. That's true. It's funny that I was taking a AI class yesterday with a lady, and they call her the AI queen. She's very famous in Atlanta, Georgia. But she pointed that out. That only 30% of all the AI consultants are women. Only 30%, and they wanted to raise that number even higher, of course. And it's because it's challenging, and but definitely it would be a great move if that number goes up. And I totally agree with that. Um, when it comes to your company, so you are the founder, you're the CEO,
I
you know,
am.
the decision maker of your company. How a typical day looks for you, Heather?
I'll be honest with you. Every day is different, and I like it because it never gets boring. It's always exciting and challenging and different. There are some days that I'm like you, where you're focused on reading the contracts and going over the contracts, and do I want to ask for this language to get changed, or is it okay? Am I just going to go ahead and sign and execute it? And when does it need to be done? And if we have a new contract, I've got to get a team in place to be able to execute it. Do I have the right team? Do I have the right team lead? That's the next phase of it. And then from there, you get into execution, making sure everything is completed on time and on quality. That's the thing. You can't be late and you can't have poor quality. You've got to have both. And so focusing on that, making sure the team has what they need to be able to successfully complete project work. And also some days are solely client based. I'm calling clients and, hey, how are we doing? Is there anything we could do better? How can we improve? How can we help you more? Those type of conversations. So it really depends on the day, and I enjoy it that way. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, probably not the best thing, but it's what I do. I pick up my cell phone and I look at my calendar just to see what's on my calendar for that day. The second thing is I go to my to-do list, and my to-do list is always, what has to be done that day, what's a priority, and what can be rescheduled, pushed off, or delegated. There are some things that I don't necessarily need to do at my level. It needs to be done, but it doesn't have to be me that accomplishes it. So those items, trying to first thing in the morning, delegate them out to the team and hey, I need you to do this for me, or I need you to do that. And then let the team actually develop other skills that maybe they wouldn't have had a chance to do, and, be able to assist with getting that to-do list completed and done on time. And I think that's another thing with, AI. When you talk about AI watching your calendars and watching your emails and helping prioritize stuff, and what had a question that needs a response, flagging those for you. I definitely see AI being a benefit in those arenas.
Oh, you will definitely need an AI. I just put in here in my notes. I'm taking little notes here. An AI assistant will be perfect. Will reduce all that do tasks that you do to nothing. It will handle all that stuff for you. It will check your tasks, your calendar, what you need to do. It will help you rearrange, reassign, even customer communications. It will definitely save you a lot of time that you can, you know, invest in something else because as a CEO and owner of your company, I know you want to be hands-on, but a little help with those things, it will definitely make you more efficient. So that's a great point that you mentioned there. Is definitely will be something that we can have into consideration. AI will definitely be a good solution for you in that perspective.
And I think for small and medium sized businesses, I think that's a critical, important thing because you always hear it, right? Do you
Hmm.
work in your business or on your business? Because if you're working in your business, you don't have time to work on your business. And
Exactly.
so, if AI can do a lot of the in the business type activities, then it relieves you to have the opportunity to focus on the business, on the growth, on the strategy, and those type of items.
Exactly. You can be stuck doing admin and clerical work. Technically, is you need an efficient assistant that will save you money. It will save you time, and that's the advantage. There's no sick days. It work 24/7, 7 days a week, and it just work. And you tell them what to do, and learn as you go. And you can add more features. You can tell them what to do, add more features. Anything needs to be improved. Uh, we need to do this. As your company grows, uh, probably gonna need more people with the same. You delegate more responsibility. You're probably gonna need, all the people with the same type of advantage, so they can be more efficient. So the opportunities, the options are really endless as we speak. So definitely, that's a great point there, Heather, and we definitely can provide a solution for you. What's working right now for your company, and what's frustrating in your company in the industry? What's working? What is frustrating?
I would say the thing that's frustrating is we have an electric grid that has been patched together and duct taped, and we really need to go in and modernize the grid. I mean, we've got transmission lines that are 60 years old. We need to replace those. We're talking about AI and data centers are needed for AI. Well,
Yeah.
how are you going to power data centers?
Yeah.
You've got to have a grid that can sustain that. And so I think for me, we've patched for too long, and it's time now. And I understand why. I mean, pandemics happened, and
It costs a lot of
interest
money,
rates
right?
were crazy expensive, so you couldn't afford to do a capital project. And I understand why we're where we're at today. But now's the time we need to start looking at our infrastructure, investing in our infrastructure, or we're not going to have the power for the data centers for the AI. And it's going to be like, sorry, we just don't, we ran out of capacity. And so I'm hoping that we come up with a better solution. And that goes back to having women and minorities and different perspectives coming in because we need some creative solutions. How are we going to generate enough power? How are we going to transmit it? How are we going to make sure we have what we need to power the future? Because power is so key to your daily life. It is critical at this point, and people can't function without power. We have to have it. And we're looking at, I saw a stat that said we need to spend $2 trillion upgrading the grid by 2030, or we're going to have reliability issues. What's reliability? That's your power being off.
Yeah.
That's the power being turned off because we don't have the capacity, or we don't have the ability to transmit the power from one place to another. I mean, we've got to figure out the power grid because the data centers have to power the AI.
Power, energy, technology without power is useless.
Absolutely.
It won't work. It just won't work. Yeah, try to do anything. We rely so much on, right, cell phones. If you don't charge it, it's useless. It's a brick. If you don't, how you gonna charge it? You need power. If power is not there, power is the foundation of everything. It has been like that for hundreds of years now, because that's how it is. And that's a great point. So, do you guys work with all the hardware and power lines and all the stuff?
We do the design and the engineering of it. We don't do the construction at this point. I am looking for some partners to where we could do full turnkey projects where we could do EPC, where Select Power would do the engineering, maybe a different subcontractor do procurement, and another partner do the construction and the testing and commissioning. We're looking at those partnerships, and I'm having those discussions right now because I know how critical it is. Another thing that I've done is I've partnered with Power Hero Power Hero has a power pack that can actually function as a battery, and it can be, spread out. It can be, it doesn't have to be centrally located. We can have the grid spread out with batteries, and they're a fraction of the cost of a battery bank. And so to me, it just was a elegant solution. I'm like, yeah, let's partner together. Let's see what we can do. They've got the technology, they've got the patents, they're producing their equipment and their software. And then we just come in and we say, okay, how can we apply your equipment to make the grid more secure and more reliable and more stable?
Oh, it's good to learn about these things. I'm always impressed with how the power systems. It's always fascinating. It's been fascinating for me forever. How electricity, power, all the power lines. I see power lines all the time. I'm located in Florida, in Orlando. Where are you located, Heather?
I'm in South Carolina, just north of Columbia.
Oh, South Carolina. Okay, my mom lives in North Carolina. Yeah, so it's really impressive to see that. So you mentioned that, so that's part of the my next question, future goals that you have, and I can see that could be a future goal for you and your company. How you guys grow and implement, and it will be it's a most needed solution because we we need power. We need power.
Absolutely. And I'm excited about the future. I'm really excited about what we can do. And, what can AI become? As long as it's got reliable power, what can it become? The future is unknown. How much it's going to grow, how beneficial it's going to be. I know I was talking with somebody yesterday and they were talking about dark plants in China where they don't even cut the lights on because they have robots that build everything, and they're AI software driven. And so, when you've got full production plants that are AI robots and you don't even cut the lights on because you don't have humans there, I mean, there's probably maybe two humans on site just to make sure everything functions and there's no malfunctions and everything is good. But I mean, that's
Eh,
the future.
yeah,
And I say that's today. China's already doing it, but it's crazy to think of what can the future become with AI.
yeah. It will make, like for example, like I know Power Solutions uses a lot of like monitoring stuff, right, to check voltage, to check a lot of, what's down, what's up, if AI can do that and more. It can even prevent a lot of future damages or scheduled maintenance. It will tell you, hey, this is the last time this line, this circuit's been up, or this line was down. It will give you all the data live as you need it. So is I know there's a lot of solution. Like I said, the anything you can, if it's not built, it can be built. Is you can customize it as you need it. You can add it, you can remove, depends on the needs that you have. That's
You know,
why
it's it's interesting. I tell people the grid isn't stupid. We've been adding intelligent electronic devices to the grid for 30 years. Schweitzer relays have been around for a long time. So we've got some intelligence on the grid. Can we do self-healing when there are outages? Absolutely, we already can do that. Do we have plenty of data? We've got more data than I think we could ever filter through. And I think that's where AI can really come in and say, okay, give me this data set and let me figure out how to help you make the best decisions based on the data set. And so, when you're looking at rapid re-energization after a storm, how are we going to accomplish that? Because I remember, Juan, I'll be honest with you, I remember being a young engineer. I think it was Hurricane Gaston had come through. I remember reporting to work as soon as the hurricane had passed, getting a fleet truck, going out with drawings of the circuit and a flashlight and looking to see, okay, is the circuit energized? Where were there open fuses? What do we need to do? And going back and having notes and pictures. I mean, I remember that. we don't do that anymore today. We have fuses that can self-report when they open. We've
Oh,
got switches that self-report when they open. And so I think there's so much value in the data, but more importantly, the speed of information.
I see that. Wow. So is it so those fuses, or they can report when they're down?
Mhm.
So it would need like go there and replace it manually, right?
It used to be a manual, so you'd use a J-stick and you would manually replace the fuse. And there are some that will, especially reclosers, which are switches, they will self-close. Or I mean, there is an operator, there is a person that makes a decision that pushes a button that says reclose, and they'll reclose. Or there might be software in place with AI that says, okay, reclose on that line, and so the switch will reclose itself. Fuses, they're old school, they're one and done, so you still have to send somebody out there manually to
Hmm.
replace the fuse, but they know exactly where it's located. They're not having to go out and do, manual inspections. And sometimes we have to do that if the storm comes through and knocks out, all the relays and intelligence. If it's a serious storm, sometimes those things will be damaged to the point they can't function and they can't report. So then you have to go manually. So I think that's where AI is valuable but can't replace the people for the power
Exactly.
system.
It will give you the data, give you the information you need. It will prevent a lot of things because maybe you can replace them on time, and you don't have to worry about when they're gonna die or when something's gonna break. AI can predict a lot of things based on data. Um, but definitely, the human aspect would never be replaced. Um, Heather, I really we're about to conclude the podcast. It's been a great time conversation with you, and definitely I'm collecting some points here that we can discuss. I would like to arrange another meeting. We call that the discovery meeting, so we can talk about what can we offer uh, for you in the AI perspective that it can be uh, something that will make your business and your life better. What do you think
And
about
I,
that?
I appreciate that. I'm gonna delegate to my IT manager. He talks IT, he talks AI, so he would be the better contact over me even. So I'll
Okay.
probably put you in contact with my IT manager.
Okay, that would be great. But at the end, he will need to talk to you. You will be the decision maker on these things, right?
Hmm.
Okay, that will definitely work, Heather. I really appreciate that. I will send you. So you have access to my calendar still.
I do.
So feel free to schedule a time when it's convenient for you or for him, so we can have another meeting so we can talk about more about the needs that you guys have and how we can offer you a solution that can improve that.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. I appreciate it. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoy and good luck and have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.